Welcome, everyone, to the friendship table. It's been a while since we've done one of these things. I am Nirvana Sparkle. Here with
I'm the
me,
doctor.
here with me is Dr. Spartan. He's been busy. He's been kind of flying around the universe, exterminating Daleks, or doing whatever he does.
Hmm.
And
Well, let me tell you something, Pony Maniacs. We're here to talk about everything pony today, brother.
wow. That still is just
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That is Dragonheart, everyone. This is where my two friends and I break down last week's episode to get you ready for this week's episode, which this week's episode is Castle Sweet Castle, which means we're gonna be mourning Golden Oaks. Bring your black ties and your funeral attire as we mourn
Now
Twilight's
come on,
bucks.
come all to this tragic affair.
Ye-
And don't
yes.
forget to hug a cat. Hug a cat. It'll make you feel better.
Speaking of cats, there is one.
Yeah, David's got a nice
Um,
pussy.
ding,
I'm showing my pussy on Skype.
Oh my
ding.
god. What have I just done?
Now I'm stroking it.
Why did I have to encourage this behavior?
Well, anyway, we're here to talk about the Cutie map, mostly to get these two's opinions on it. So, other than the fascist communism,
Well,
what
fascist
did...
communism is kind of a paradox there, my friend.
So, other than the fascism
Stalinist
stuff,
communism.
yes, other than other than the Stalinist communism, Tyler, what were your thoughts about the episode? Of course, people know mine, and if you don't, there will be annotations to the review in the video and links to it and magical studies in the description. So, Tyler, what did you think?
Well, while I don't disagree with your rating, I'd put it at about a 3 out of 6 there. I have to say that it would do a good job of introducing somebody new to the series, and it's kind of how our Harmony 6, our main 6, whatever you wish to call them, have a, have that friendship that can endure shit no matter what. It does a good job of reiterating that point. So, if somebody is just starting with this episode, it does a good job reintroducing that kind of concept, reiterating it.
In terms of the overall tone, however, compared to other season openers, it was smaller in
It was
scale.
much smaller, which is okay. It's okay to go back to basics sometimes.
And Rainbow Dash was being extremely meta the entire
Yeah.
episode. Waiting for a giant monster attack or alluding to a big baddie rampaging the town. She was being the meta
And again,
once.
but then again, do you blame her considering all the crazy stuff that goes on in Ponyville?
Absolutely not. Ponyville has Angel Grove percent. But
Yeah,
hopefully,
yeah, Ponyville is the new Angel Grove.
which, by the way, Power Rangers reference if you missed it. Uh, hopefully this season, because of the map, that kind of has me thinking Google Maps and, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego percent. Hopefully, Ponyville will not be the target of massive invasions this season. Hopefully, some other city can be at the center of, some destructive force.
Now, why would you ever think that?
Um,
Well, I mean, London has only been assaulted by Cybermen like 5 times, so...
but let's get the big elephant out of the room, or should I say Russian tank. Holy
Oh, I thought you were just talking about
Lord.
David's mom.
Uh,
I couldn't resist the joke. I could not resist making that joke.
Holy,
Yeah, and I can't resist doing this.
Whatever. I see
holy,
that on a daily basis.
holy Lord, the communism.
Holy Lord, the figurines.
What, the only thing missing there was, like, that the propaganda. All was needed was posters all around town, some Edometic army, and a few tanks, and you have the full Communist Manifesto / Stepford Wives come to life, man.
Which that seems to be the thing that everybody's referencing.
And no one, and I mean no pony, is that happy.
Oh no, you can tell something's wrong from the first second that the main six walk into that town, that there is something horribly wrong, because nobody is that happy, and nobody and an entire town, no matter what town you walk into, whether it be Detroit to Las Vegas, does no town stop and stare at the six of you constantly.
Yeah, unless you enter into the wrong neighborhood, which, God, Tyler and I live in big cities, so we know how it is to walk into the wrong neighborhood and just have everybody stare at you like, what are you doing in this wrong part of the neighborhood?
Like, why are you here? What do you want? Oh my God, that's so creepy, Tyler.
Welcome!
Yeah, yes. Welcome! We are so happy to see you!
Welcome!
When the old backed you up pissed, when the Dark Corporation's incredibly pissed.
We've never seen an alicorn before, which, by the way, writers, nice job bringing that up 4 times. That's more times than you did the entirety of last season for Twilight's position. And every time somebody brought it up, she smiled and, like, did a little wave thing. Which I think that's a notion to the whole smile and wave thing from the season 4 opener.
Yeah, but you could tell, and surprisingly, I did not expect Pinkie Pie to be the first one to notice something was wrong, and Lionel can tell you, when I watched the episode, I was actually kind of a little bit upset. I was actually a little bit irritated about it, because I was like, come on, Twilight, you're smarter than this.
But she's an analyzer, like me. She's not reactionary. She's all about facts. The song.
Yeah, but the fact that the whole town is glaring at you and smiling, that is not at all suspicious.
The song, man. As the song expert, Tyler, what did you think of, I guess, Our Town is the name of the first track?
In Our Town, I think.
Wasn't a bad song. Fit the episode.
And at least it continued the plot a little bit. I mean, the one scene that always gets me in the episode is when they're tossed into the room and you have the propaganda speaker going Far Cry 4, spitting...
You cannot have nightmares if you cannot dream.
Yeah, and...
Like, creepy shit like that.
Like, I saw a meme, guys, on Facebook of somebody that replaced that voice with Gladys from Portal.
And I saw another meme where they have them saying that exact line, but it's a picture of Nightmare Moon, and I'm like, yeah, that's something that Nightmare Moon would say.
I mean, it's just creepy from the
That
book
is definitely something
from
Nightmare Moon would say.
from from the books to books with the equal sign to the no snitching or the attempted causing Fluttershy to be a snitch, which honestly, the plan was perfect. Except Fluttershy, you should have known it was coming the way that you were so accepting of the town right away without any pretense
Yeah, that was a
that
little,
Yeah, despite
that
the fact, despite until they found out that they were total douchebags, but even then, that made the plan work because she was so accepting of them.
I mean, but the biggest complaint that I got was that Tommy Oliver said that nerfing the Harmony 6 was not a good idea. That essentially having the townspeople save themselves with their own unique talent was not a good thing.
that was a
Uh,
very good thing.
and the fact that, you know, Alicorn Twilight wasn't like God% and sent Starlight Glimmer to Suplex City with magical powers. But hey, plot contrivances.
I mean, I guess I can understand where he's coming from, because then he's thinking, oh, well, if we don't need them to, if they don't have their, god tier power, then what's the point of, in that people were able to save themselves, what's the point of having them around at all? Okay, well, try having something like Tyrek come back again, and,
Well, they were
Yeah.
well. He has to remember these people didn't know that Starlight Glimmer had a cutie mark. Okay, you
Which,
get down.
which, by the way, Glimmer, if she comes back in multiple episodes this season and builds a rep, she can be good. But right now, she ain't even on Chrysalis. She's better than Chrysalis, but she's nowhere near Tarek yet. She
No,
come, if she comes back around, maybe so. But somebody that believes that deeply those in the whole equality for everybody, it's just creepy. I mean, that, and the moral was good, of course. The moral was great. But one thing I did notice, apparently Applejack's ability to be a Southern stereotype is linked to her cutie mark.
yep!
yes.
You can't even make, what did they call it? Countryisms?
Yeah,
She can't even do. She can't. She still does the Southern drawl, but everything else she
Yeah,
can't
she
like.
couldn't make
She can't
countryisms.
say any Apple-related puns or anything like that, or can't reference anything that has to do with Southerners.
which I said to that, writers, you're just making it harder and harder for me to believe that Applejack isn't just one big, I'm a Southern stereotype. It seemed that Big Mac was going off with Spike to watch Hoopball.
Yeah.
Okay, you understand that
See, Southern drawls, apples, ball. They live on a farm.
you understand that Hoopball is the pony equivalent of football, and football is big in the South. And if it just so happens to be college hoopball that they're watching, then that even furthers the stereotype.
You could
Oh,
have just yeah, you could have just said at that point, I need to go. Me and Big Mac need to go manage our fantasy football, our fantasy hoofball league.
which he did mention fantasy stats. That's the funny thing.
So yeah, they
So,
already did mention
so,
that with the
so
card game.
Spike is a fantasy. He is. They've turned Spike into like total geek, like comic book nerd, fantasy guy that watches football and does
Although most
fantasy
people would say,
sports.
although some people would say like, well, he's the equivalent of like a 13-year-old. So
How? He's a baby dragon.
even though even though he's a baby dragon, like, well, he's much smarter than his years suggest.
Um, I mean, the only thing left to do with Applejack is have her open up a chain of Apple-related products like a KFC and put her face on a bucket. That's the
KFA?
yeah,
Ew, who the
that's
fuck would eat fried apples?
everybody in Ponyville would. 'Cause
Considering that they eat anything that she makes with apples,
yeah,
so she's
like
kind of like the she's kind of like the KFC of Ponyville. Considering that they always go to her whenever she sells Apple-related products,
every day she hustling.
except for the gala, but they're a bunch of stuck-up bitches.
Yeah. And apparently the way you cause Rarity to want to commit suicide is just have everything droll. Droll Travis shirts, everything. She was
Just put
about
her in a room where everything is ugly.
yeah, and then she'll deal with the rest. But Rainbow Dash was being incredibly meta. Incredibly meta.
Yeah, pointing out all the facts
Like
of, hey, why is there no monster and things like that.
yes, and we even got a little bit of Twilight nerd percent with that little diatribe about that magician and the 8 artifacts.
You'll hear me shouting that at a lot during this episode.
Like, but one, that's my beloved being her beloved. But David, what's your overall thoughts on the episode and where do you rate it?
I thought it was good. I'd give it about a 3 out of 6.
Ooh.
Like if it was if it was the start of like the series, if it was like an opening for the series, then it would have been good. Although they would need to explain the wings later, but it would have been much better. But because this is the 5th season, it cuts the quality in half.
Yeah.
Just doesn't feel like a good, especially after the season 4 ender. Like this came up massively short.
But I honestly believe they did it in this tone because they know they couldn't match the Super
Yeah, they knew.
Saiyan-esque
Yeah, I was thinking that
brawl
too.
that
The fact that they couldn't match up to the. It's like with the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie being so good, and then with the second one is a parody of the first because they knew they couldn't make it as good as the first one. So they just made a complete parody making fun of the first one.
I and that would mean that CodeEquestria gives the episode an overall 3 as a group. and I mean
Although I do want to see more of Starlight Glimmer. Like, I think this character has potential to do much more than what they set her out to do.
yes, but I wish they would have given her a Russian accent to complete the
Yeah, that would have completed the whole thing, giving her a Russian accent instead of an American accent.
uh, and And about next week's episode, as we head to the final segment, Castle Sweet Castle. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the new digs, which I think we're finally used to the new digs, I think. But of course,
I actually liked this castle when I first saw it. I said to both of you originally that I liked the new design for the castle, but then when I looked up online, there was mixed criticism about it.
well,
Some people absolutely hated it, and some people absolutely loved it.
well, I mean, it looks kind of ugly on the outside, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It, it,
Kinda, but when
Not
you
even
walk
ugly, just out
inside,
of place.
it,
yeah, doesn't
well,
it feel? I agree with you there. It does feel kind of out of place. You just walk into Ponyville, see all these little cottages here, and then you see like this massive crystal castle in the middle of it. It just doesn't kind of fit. And then you're like, yeah, you're like making a face like Tyler just did right now. Where you're like, what the hell is this doing here?
yeah, I mean, it's nice that they have Cutie Mark pagers now, which, that's gotta be the weirdest thing. Have your Cutie Mark blink like a butt pager and be like,
Oh my god.
you're supposed to be here now.
And plus,
It's like,
with the whole Cutie Mark glowing thing, there's
yeah,
actually a toy that they're selling. There's actually a toy that you're selling. I don't know if you two have seen it, where I don't know if it'll give away anything or not, but it looks like it's gave away what eventually is going to happen
of
by making it
course.
so that they have cutie marks all down their back legs and things like that. And they call it
Well,
cutie mark magic.
well, that's Rainbow Power revised, pretty much.
But basically what I'm saying is, if that is supposed to be what you're leading up to, then don't sell the toy until after you do it.
I thought we had this discussion last season
Yeah,
when
really.
we got
Did
to.
the same thing with the rainbow power thing. You did it 8 weeks before. You did it 8 weeks before the actual ender, and
But
you ruined it.
but but obviously we're going to be mourning Golden Oaks, or more specifically, Twilight is going to be mourning her books like a black tie funeral.
Yeah, you just see her like in black clothing, just 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 sitting next to a pile of books, sitting next to a pile of burnt books. Oh, the humanity! And she'd be like, oh, the humanity!
Oh God, I think we just created a meme.
Oh
Oh,
no.
Lord.
Uh, cause, cause
And
I'm
remember, if you make that meme, remember to make it overly dark and over dramatically dark, so much that it's fucking hilarious.
cause I'm getting comic number 16 vibes at the beginning when they're in the white room and she's all like all mourning and screwed up because there's no books left and no stories. So she's just sitting there in the white room like crying her eyes out.
Yeah, because all the stories have been eaten essentially.
Uh, Everything I cared about is gone. With with like tears in her eyes. And I have a feeling they're going to kind of mimic that, but in a more physical sense. Hopefully the castle goes, hey, here's a new library and here's all your books fixed.
That's probably what's going knowing the writers. That's probably what's going to happen.
Although I think if they do that, the sound of elation could probably be heard all the way to Canterlot.
And
So,
speaking of which, this episode is being written by two writers from Fairly Odd Parents.
yeah, Tara helping out her boys. They're literally.
Which Ed Valentine before, where we gave Flight to the Finish his #1 episode of last season, was also from Fairly Odd
Yes.
Parents.
Continuity, people. He remembers the list.
1080 penis.
And that's also a video on this channel. But
1080. Where the fuck did you come up with that?
yeah, it was about Resolution Gate, people. Look it up. It's
Yeah,
one of the
here's my thoughts on Resolution Gate. Your 1080 penis is this small, 1 inch.
I think 1080p is
Now be
very
quiet.
important in like
Yeah.
video standard and such, but I don't know. I think that it's more important to have a 1080p than a 60 frames per second with everything.
Yeah,
I'd
but
rather have a high resolution than a high frame rate.
I agree.
but
More high resolution than high frame rate, but still.
but
That's another discussion for another day.
That's another discussion for another time.
Overall, it's a 3, and we agree that too much communism can be a bad thing.
Too much communism. Is it just a little bit too much?
Which, trust me, David can tell you, Tyler, I was trying to sing the Russian national anthem.
Oh my God.
He sang it like 4 times during the whole episode, and I was laughing each time.
Every time there were bouts of communism, it was like, I had to go.
But Starlight Glimmer pretty much is the textbook definition of communism. She's a dictator who wants all her people to be equal, wants everybody to be equal, but at the same time is limiting their individualism.
Yeah, it's funny. It kind of reminds
Limiting
me.
their individuality.
Kind of reminds me of the interview, but until next Friday, guys, where we'll talk about Castle Sweet Castle, which is tomorrow, in which you will see the review an hour after the episode ends, I guarantee it. Of course, each episode is on at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time on Discovery Family. The only thing that matters is this show. So, until next week, I am Nirvana Sparkle. Find peace in your own Nirvana. He's Dragonheart.
I am Dragonheart. Have a heart to think positively.
And that is Dr. Spartan.
I'm the doctor. Always wear a condom.
Who looks like he's going
Always wear a condom.
Who is going to take a nap.
Nah, son. I gotta
this
get some point
point.
Get streaming.
So until next week, we will see you as we discuss everything friendship here at the Friendship Table. And remember, friends are hard to find. Keeping them sane is even harder.
Why the
it
fuck
from
would
me.
you want to keep them sane? Look at me, for example.
I'm gonna kill everybody that chop my eyeballs out!
Different kinds of insanity.
Fuck you!
Alright.